lava lamp going. My Himalayan salt lamp. Get the vibrations going, man. Grand Rising, brothers and sisters, love and light. Let me see, let me get this rolling. Y'all see me better? Love and light, family. It's your brother, Omni Aminashi, also known as Omni Omnis. This is another session of Wake Up Wednesday, which is one of my new segments, one of my new programs or whatnot. And today we're going to be building about vaccinations. And this is OmniVision EDU. I am your host. And today we're going to be building from a scientific and historical standpoint. Scientific and historical literacy for indigenous people. This is what OmniVision is all about. Holistically understanding and holistically perceiving, family, from the eyes of the Creator. Alright, so look, the definition of a vaccine is a biological preparation that provides active acquired immunity to a particular infectious disease. A vaccine typically contains an agent that resembles a disease-causing microorganism and is often made from weakened or killed. Let me see. Going to the full joint. From a weakened or killed forms of the microbe, its toxins, or one of its surface proteins. The agent stimulates the body and the immune system to recognize the agent as a threat. Okay, so we understand that vaccines are artificial methods of immunity. Artificial methods of immunity. We understand that we have natural immunity, which is inherent due to your genes. And then you have artificial immunity for individuals who have lower inherent levels of immunity. And this is based on the ABO blood group study, which was founded and discovered by Carl Landsteiner in the 1940s, okay? When they seen that there was a difference between blood groups, all right? Now we have to get into that to understand the difference in biology. All right. Now, if I'm not able to reply to you, brothers and sisters, don't charge it to me. I got to do something with my settings because I'm not able to see comments until the end of the video. It's been like that for a few weeks now. But I'm going to get to you as soon as I can. But we're going to build about it, family. So we see that there's a difference in genes. There's a difference in levels of immunity, which is based upon your antibodies. So you have antibodies, which are your DNA self-defense mechanisms, which are meant to identify and kill off foreign objects and substances, such as microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, and certain things of that nature. Okay. So in the O blood group, you have superior immune defense due to the presence of two antibodies. All right, the O blood group has superior immune defense due to the presence of two antibodies. The A group has one, the B group has one, the AB group has 0. All right, so we got to understand that the philosophy of animal versus plant protein, right, is based upon genetics. The promotion of animal genes is due to the discovery of the difference in genetics between blood groups, which was initially founded by Carl Landsteiner in the 1940s. All right. So if you guys want to go and do your research on that, feel free to do so. So let's get back to the actual joint that we're going to be building from. I just had to go over vaccine, what a vaccine is. So we understand that with Europeans, at some point, with Europeans came death, sickness, and disease historically. All right? Death, sickness, and disease historically, family. Now, the whole philosophy of vaccinations is based upon the concept of inoculation. All right, and inoculation is a fancy scientific term for artificially inducing microorganisms, viruses, and bacteria to the immune system. All right. Now, inoculation is the act or process of an instance of inoculating, especially the introduction of a pathogen or antigen into a living organism to stimulate the production of antibodies. So the stimulation, and that's by Oxford Dictionary, the stimulation in which they are speaking about is a chemical reaction between antibodies and antigens. Now we know in the ABO blood group study and in the RH study that there's a such thing as RH incompatibility. And this is when the certain cells go at war with certain other cells, right? The good and bad cells. So in the RH negative group, there are good cells, pure antibodies without the presence of antigens, which are foreign toxic pathogenic cells that are present in the A, the B, and the AB blood group, all right? Which we refer to those people as RH positive, meaning they have the presence of those foreign DNA markers, all right? So a pathogen, right, is a part of inoculation, the introduction of a foreign microorganism into the immune system. So a pathogen is a bacteria, virus, or other microorganism that can cause disease, all right? And you guys can research that from, that's from Oxford Dictionary as well. So feel free to check that out. So a pathogen is a part of inoculation, the process which is used in modern medicine to vaccinate children. You know what I'm saying? And another thing too, family, when was the last time anybody seen chicken pox? Right? Just think about it. I'm 32 years old. I'll be 33 this year. I've seen chicken pox coming up. You know, I had it. My cousins had it. You know what I'm saying? But now in modern times, this is something that you don't see. And I wonder if that's for a reason. But I'm pretty sure it is, family. But it's just something to think about. You know what I'm saying? This is due to pathological science. Pathology is the branch of science concerned with the understanding of pathogens. All right? Creating pathogens. And pathogens are toxic, infectious microorganisms. So we got to understand that all bacterium and viruses are infectious microorganisms that can cause disease. Now, pathogens are created by the scientific field of pathology, and it's their job to create these type of life forms. So when you see COVID-19, when you see Zika virus, when you see HPV, you know, all of these different types of viruses are created by man in scientific laboratories, family. It's called pathology. All right? Now, let's get into what an antigen is, because the antigen is a part of the modern philosophy of vaccination. An antigen is a toxic or other foreign substance which induces an immune response in the body, okay, especially in the production of antibodies. That's by Oxford Dictionary as well. A toxin or other foreign substance which induces an immune response in the body, especially in the production of antibodies, okay? So we understand that antigens, meaning antigenes, are not good, all right? It's a bad thing. You don't want to have antigenes because they're not supposed to be in your body, all right? Now let's just go through a list of pandemics of diseases, family, that's occurred. And we got the recent COVID-19 pandemic. We got the swine flu. We got AIDS pandemic, Spanish flu pandemic, Asian flu, American Philadelphia yellow fever pandemic. We got polio pandemic, bubonic plague, Black Death plague, Zika virus pandemic, Ebola epidemic. All right, so COVID-19 is not the first pandemic, family. All right, now these pandemics are due to the introduction of foreign microorganisms that invade the body and infect the body with pathogens, okay, disease, bacteria, family. So that's for every disease known to man is from the introduction of bacteria, which is a microbe, or a virus, which is also a microbe, okay. So all of those plagues is from the infection of viruses and bacteria, family. All right, let me see what else we got. Peace and blessings, family. Love and light to the fam in the building. Grand Rising, could it could. Let me see what we got. Now, just to go over the brief history of disease, family. Smallpox pandemic in Europe allegedly killed over 500,000 Europeans annually in the 1800s. Okay, smallpox is one of the major or more common diseases known to man around the time of colonialism with Europeans and whatnot. So smallpox continues in the 20th century worldwide, claiming 500 to 300 million lives per year. All right. Now, some people who caught the disease survived. Some people who were thought to be immune to the disease by the way of introduction of the disease into the immune system, which we just said earlier is inoculation, which is a fancy word for introducing foreign pathogenic antigens into the immune system. Now, my whole thing with that is in the ABO blood group study, if they understand that introducing antigens into the wrong genome can cause a biochemical reaction that is negative, which they call Rh incompatibility, why would you use the same, why wouldn't you apply that same method to vaccinations when you understand that your gene type translates into your biochemistry, all right, your biological makeup? So we must consider that when it comes to medicine, when it comes to food, diet, and things of that nature, all right? Immunity is something that's supposed to be naturally inherent, but we just understand that different individuals are inherent to different levels of immunity, family. All right? So, now it's said that during the ages of the Chinese, all right, that they had developed a technique to artificially manufacture immunity, family. The first documented use of inoculation, a deliberate infection for the purpose of developing immunity. Okay, so like I said, inoculation is deliberate infection for the purpose of developing immunity. Now, to speak towards that, Dr. Sabi, he spoke about gene food consistency, which is just dealing with biochemistry, the compatibility between your biochemistry and other substances. All right. Inoculation is something that could work for specific groups that are antigenic. So it wouldn't hurt to introduce antigens to the immune system if the body has an antigenic biochemical makeup. But if your body is not antigenic, or if your genes are not antigenic, to introduce antigens to your body would result in a negative biochemical reaction, family. So that's not what we want. We want to make sure that we understand that gene substance consistency. Dr. Sabi refers to it as gene food consistency. But we understand that every liquid, solid, and gas are all made of substances, okay, chemicals, all right? So it's all chemistry, the behavior of particles and substances. So when we understand that as black people, we have a natural chemistry because we do not possess antigenic allelic genes, from a separate species, as you do in your A and your B groups, that certain requirements or certain ways of life is not for us. Okay, so it's really simple, family. So Dr. Jenner, right, which is an English physician who studied the practice of inoculation in the 18th century, he noticed cows develop a similar disease as smallpox, known as smallpox, right? And it's also known as cowpox, all right? So cows have been known to have a similar antigenic presence in their DNA. They call it cowpox, but in humans they call it smallpox. But the connection between it is that they're both pathogenic microorganisms present in the DNA. Now, humans and animals are different species of organisms, which is my discrepancy as to why humans should have animal DNA markers or biological markers. Now, it said that milkmaids were said to sometimes acquire cowpox, making them immune to human smallpox. All right? So, like I said, based on gene food consistency or gene substance consistency, if you have antigenic allelic genes, then that makes you biochemically compatible to antigens and pathogens. So vaccines may be beneficial for individuals who have DNA that is pathogenic and antigenic, right? Also known as allelic. And an allele is one of two or more alternative forms of a gene that arise by mutation and are found at the same locus of a chromosome. Okay? Now, in 1798, Dr. Jenner seized the opportunity to inoculate a handful of his friends and neighbors with cowpox. All right? He again virulates them with smallpox. Subsequently, the patients were found not to show any signs of having exposed to smallpox. Right? So this is due to the similarity between the genes of some humans between 85-15% ratio. Now it said that an 85% 15% ratio difference between Rh negative and Rh positive. So those who are Rh positive have the presence of animal DNA, making them more compatible to animal protein. So vaccines are a form of animal proteins. Okay. Now, Dr. Jenner, like I said, he was a physician of the 1800s. And, you know, they did some scientific research and examination. And from that, they came to find out that inoculation worked for some individuals and that it was biochemically compatible to certain individuals. Okay? So, the scientific term was coined as variola vaccinia from the Latin word vaca, meaning cow. Okay? Inoculation. All right? So now in the 1980s, the World Health Organization declared smallpox eradicated, but there are still some cases of smallpox, so it was never cured. They're just trying to come up with ways to boost the immunity of individuals who are not inherent to the same level of immunity, family. So this is all based on your DNA, on your genes. You know what I'm saying? If you have good genes, then you're blessed. And that's something that can only be inherent to you. You can't steal it. You can't, it's just given to you. Like your ancestors passed that baton down. So if you're melanated, that's a blessing, family. But we know that we don't want our melanated children just taking vaccination. So we got to build about this a little bit, family. Yeah, so it ain't nothing wrong with asking questions, man. So the objections to vaccines commonly are religious reasons, philosophical reasons. Let me see. People have spoken about the usage of animal material, family. Like I said, those are animal proteins. So we understand that animals and humans are two different species. So we have to understand that, that doesn't apply to everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's unclean, it's inhumane, it's inorganic, it's created by pathologists, which are scientists who study pathology, microorganisms that are infectious, family. So these are not naturally occurring. The COVID-19 is not naturally occurring. No viruses are, all right? Now, the World Health Organization regulations and policies are based on Rh positive blood, family. Let me say that again. The World Health Standard regulations and policies are based on Rh positive blood. Rh positive meaning the presence of animal DNA in some modern humans, okay? So positive means that you possess the presence of animal cells, chromosomes, and tissues from a separate species, all right? Now, disregarding the difference between the biology of the Rh negatives, which are the pure humans, negative meaning they do not possess the cells, chromosomes, and tissues from a separate species. This is why they're pure humans. No antigens, no allele genes, all right? Which is the monkey gene. You can just call it the monkey gene. They call it Rh positive, all right? Now, antigens are the common denominator between humans and the animal proteins family, by which are used in modern electronics, all right? Devices which emit radiation are regulated, and there are policies that's put out to ensure that things function a certain way. Foods, medicines, family, cosmetics, vaccinations, etc. Okay, the FDA, the CDC, the Department of Agriculture. These are certain references that you guys can look up to look more into this. So now, the United States Federal Drug and Cosmetic Act is a set of laws, family, that was put into Congress, put into play in 1938, giving authority of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to oversee the safety of food, drugs, medical devices, and cosmetics. And that's from Wikipedia, family. The United States Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act is a set of laws passed by the Congress in 1938, all right? And it, like I said, it gives authority to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to oversee the safety of foods, drugs, medical devices, and cosmetics. So a lot of the things that we use on a daily basis is being regulated by individuals, all right? So we got to keep that in mind. Not just vaccinations. Vaccinations is just one of many things that are being regulated by policy. So it's politics, family. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Now we know that. Now this is what I'm gonna do right quick, family, so you guys can understand what I'm saying. Now, disease in general is a disorder in the structure and the function of a human, animal, or plant family. You understand that all life, biological life, is made from cells, okay? Now, disease is the result of the invasion of infectious microorganisms. Now, I'm going to go over a list of common vaccinations, right? And all of these vaccinations that I'm going to cover, and they include bacteria and viruses. So that's my point. It's impossible to contract disease without the invasion of parasitic microorganisms and bacteria. All right. So, you know, I'm an independent researcher, so I like to compare and contrast. Don't just go to Google and think that it's right. You actually have to look into things and find the commonality in things. And of course, you got to do a little source checking too, but make it make sense, family. So look, I'm gonna go into some of the things that's common vaccinations. Diphtheria, right, which is a serious infection caused by strains of bacteria called cayenne bacterium, diphtheria, something like that, if I pronounced it correctly. That makes a toxin poison, right? So it's a bacteria that creates a toxin poison, diphtheria. And it can lead to a difficulty of breathing, heart failure, paralysis, and even death, family. So the CDC recommends vaccines for infants, children, teens, and adults to prevent diphtheria. All right, and that's by cdc.gov, family. cdc.gov. Diphtheria is a serious infection caused by strains of bacteria, all right, that make toxins, poison, family. All right, and it can lead to certain side effects: breathing, right, difficulty breathing, heart failure, paralysis, and even death. All right, now that's a virus. Now the next one is influenza. Influenza is a common viral infection that can be deadly, especially in high-risk groups. All right, influenza is a common viral infection that can be deadly, especially in high-risk groups. So high-risk groups meaning people who are susceptible to viruses or disease, right, due to low immunity. So that's what high risk means. They at risk because their immunity is lower, family. Now, the flu, which is influenza, attacks the lungs, the nose and throat. Young children, older adults, pregnant women, and people with chronic disease or weak immune systems are at high risk. All right. Now that's by Mayo Clinic for your reference. Mayo Clinic. Mayo Clinic, family. Now hepatitis A, which is a strand of the A antigen in the A blood group. Okay, hepatitis A is a vaccine, preventable liver infection caused by the hepatitis A virus, which is abbreviated as HAV. HAV is found in the stool and the blood of people who are infected. All right, now that's by cdc.gov. Check out cdc.gov, family. Hepatitis A is a viral bacterial infection, right? Just like influenza. Now the next one, hepatitis B, which is a strand of the same mutation that's in the B blood group, right? Hepatitis B is a potentially life-threatening liver infection caused by hepatitis B virus, all right? Hepatitis B is a virus. It's abbreviated as HBV. It's a major global health problem, all right? And it can cause chronic infection and puts people at high risk of death from cryosis, if I pronounce that correctly, family, and liver cancer, right? Now that's by World Health Organization, the World Health Organization. Hepatitis B, a strand of the same mutation that's found present in the B blood group. That's why I'm saying this ABO blood group study is crucial, family, to everything that we're dealing with today in regards to politics and regulation. It's all based on your identity, all right? There are political biases against certain groups of individuals, okay? And there are certain groups of individuals that have more favoritism due to the politics. Now, hepatitis C is a virus just like hepatitis A and B, okay? Hepatitis C is a small envelope positive sense single-stranded RNA virus of the family Flaviviridae, okay, some type of Spanish word. The hepatitis C virus is the cause of hepatitis C and some cancers such as liver cancer and in humans, all right? So it can lead to cancer as well. Viruses are the precursors of disease, family. So if you have any viruses, it is not a good thing, all right? Now another virus, what else we got? The HIB, the Haemophilus influenza, the HIB, is a bacteria that can cause a severe infection occurring mostly in infants and children, younger than the ages 5. Yeah, so let me read that again. Haemophilus influenza, including HIB, is a bacterium that can cause a severe infection occurring mostly in infants and children younger than 5 years of age. All right, so it's something that occurs normally in younger children. And they really got to be careful with that because Yeah, we gotta take care of these babies, man. So ain't nothing wrong with asking questions before you give your child a vaccine. At least ask some questions, family. That's all I'm saying. When illnesses develop in children, a lot of the times it's from these practices, and from the parents not asking enough questions. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't think for yourself, somebody will think for you. That's just how that works. Now, HPV infection is a viral infection that commonly causes skin or mucous membrane growths known as warts. Okay? Now, there are more than 100 varieties of human papillomavirus, which is known as HPV. The human it's a funny European word. The human papillomavirus, HPV. Some types of HPV infection causes warts, and some can cause different types of cancer. All right. Now, most HPV infections don't lead to cancer, and then that's by Mayo Clinic. All right. Now, the arrival of Europeans brought on death, sickness, and disease. Family, why is that? One reference that I give to you guys is the Columbian Exchange, right? Now, we know that America is named after an Italian merchant and geographer, all right, known as Amerigo Vespucci, right? Now, there's a conflict in the history because in school they teach you that America was discovered by Columbus, but it's named after Vespucci. So that's the conflict of interest with the with their history, the man's story, not the black man's story. So anyway, the Columbian Exchange, which is something that occurred around the time Columbus was traveling and navigating, right? The Columbian Exchange, also known as the Columbian Interchange, named after Christopher Columbus, was the widespread transfer of plants, animals, culture, human populations, technology, diseases, and ideas between the Americas, West Africa, and the Old World in the 15th and 16th centuries. Okay? Now, like you see what they said. They said it was a widespread transfer of plants, animals, culture, human populations, technology, and diseases and ideas in the Americas, West Africa, and in the Old World in the 15th and 16th centuries, right before the Declaration of Independence, which led to the eradication of the indigenous Moorish Empire, right? So this is the declaration of the New World and European independence, not indigenous independence. The indigenous society already had their own government, which was eradicated around the same time, family. I have another video that you guys can check out on my YouTube. I think it's called Independence Day Exposed. Independence Day Exposed. And we're just going into the brief history of what happened around that time, and how blacks became slaves, and some of the rulers who were actually blacks prior to 1776. Okay, so the Columbian Exchange, it also relates to European colonization. Okay, now this is being read from Wikipedia. That's the source of what I'm reading. It also relates to European colonization and trade following Christopher Columbus in 1492 voyage. All right. Now, invasive species. Listen to what they're saying. Invasive, meaning unnatural. All right. Hybrid species, crossbred species, genetically modified species, including communicable diseases, were a byproduct of the exchange. Now, the changes in agriculture significantly altered global populations. You see that? Changes in agriculture, changes in the way of doing things, significantly altered global populations. The most significant immediate impact of the global exchange was the cultural exchanges and the transfer of people, both free and enslaved, between continents. So we see that we have an exchange of ideas, plants, animals, culture, populations, technology, diseases, and different things of that nature. But we're trying to understand why did disease come about. What did we say earlier, family? Disease can only occur from the invasion of parasitic, bacterial, fungal-based microorganisms. Okay? That's the root of all disease, family. Now, here's another read right here from the nlm.nih.com. All right? And I'll do a quick reading about the native people. It says, native peoples began dying from European diseases. Okay? Diseases unknown to them spread rapidly among the native peoples who lacked immunity to viruses and bacteria carried by Europeans. We know that the Columbus exchange occurred around, the time where Europeans were colonizing and declaring their independence amongst the indigenous, pre-existing indigenous society. So as native peoples traveled waterways by canoe to trade and share news, they unknowingly take the germs to neighboring tribes. Measles, mumps, chickenpox, smallpox, diphtheria, influenza, pneumonia, typhoid, and the common cold reached Florida and Cuba and began their deadly march through populations across the hemisphere. So we know that disease took place in the past, family. Europeans brought on sickness, death, and disease because of that A antigen, that B antigen, and that AB antigen. And it's that simple, family. All death, all disease is the result of the invasion of parasitic, microbe, fungal, bacterial-based organisms. Okay? It's impossible to become disease without pathogens. Pathology is the study of science which is based upon pathogens, microorganisms, family. All right? Infectious microorganisms. So I don't know how long we've been on, family, but just trying to make sure we get our daily build in, family. You already know how we do. So when you get a chance, feel free to check out my YouTube, www.youtube.com/thenaturegod, TheNaturegod, space Omni Amunase, OMNIAMUNASE. The Nature God, Omni Amunase. You can even put it in your Google search and it'll pop right up. I don't even think there's another person with that name. But yeah, if you get a chance, feel free to look that up, family, so we can build about genetics, identity, get into scientific and historical literacy, and really bring education back into the culture of indigenous people. We see existing indigenous societies that we dealt with people who built pyramids, megalithic structures, geometric structures. Now these are things that require high levels of science. And we see today, we don't see any megalithic structures being built. We don't see sacred geometry being used in architecture. So we don't want to lose, African culture. And science is a part of African culture. I'm just reclaiming that back for my people. And, I'm going to try to build with y'all. Like I said, every Sunday, we got Sunday Soul Sessions on Sundays. And we got Wake Up Wednesdays, which is on Wednesday, which is the day I was born. I was born on a Wednesday. So Wednesday is my favorite day of the week, every week. So for y'all, family, I got up early this morning. I prepared, went over some notes, and put this build together for y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. And I guess I'll get up with y'all on the next one. Peace and blessings, love and light. Ashe, Natural 360. You already know. Blessing.